Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello students. In this video, we would be starting with the very first poem from your book, Honeycomb. The name of the poem is The Squirrel. So children, before we actually start reading this poem, I have a quick question for you. Now the question for you is, do you remember the last time you went for a walk with your parents in the park? You might have gone to the park for playing with your friends or simply for a walk with your parents. Do you remember the park? Do you remember going there? Very good. Now I have another question for you. Do you remember seeing the tall trees in the park, the super tall trees there? Very good. So now that you remember the trees also, children, do you remember seeing a little animal that was probably hopping around from one tree to the other, or just climbing up the tree, or simply sitting there on the ground and eating the leftovers? Do you remember this animal, children? This little animal? It resembles a rat. Do you remember this animal? Very good. So children, that is the animal that we call as a squirrel. So now our poem is based upon that animal. Now children, the poet of our poem is Mildred Bowers Armstrong. So let's read what Mildred has written for us. You may have seen a squirrel sitting on the ground eating a nut. What did it look like? So children, we remember looking at such a squirrel who was eating and who was simply sitting on the ground and eating something. Now do you remember what did it look like? Can you tell me how did it appear? Can you tell me anything about its appearance? Do you remember the size? Do you remember the color? The skin texture? Do you remember that? Very good. So children, now here is a poet's description of just such a squirrel. So children, the way we remember a squirrel, our poet Mildred also remembers one such squirrel, and he is describing that in this poem. So let's go through the poem now. Let's read it together. He wore a question mark for tail, an overcoat of gray. He sat up straight to eat a nut. He liked to tease and play. And if we ran around his tree, he went the other way. By Mildred Bowers Armstrong. So children, now can you see this picture here? Can you see this picture? Do you remember looking at such a squirrel in the garden, in the park? Very good. So now let's understand the poem. Now he wore a question mark for tail. Why is the poet saying so? So here's the tail of the squirrel. So let me just draw over this tail. So I'm just simply drawing over this. Now children, tell me, what is the shape that I get here? Once I draw over this, what do you call as this mark if I put a dot here? A question mark. Yes. So that is the reason our poet is saying that instead of a tail, I can say that a squirrel carries a question mark. Right? I can say that because it's that similar to a question mark that I can say that instead of a tail, it has a question mark. Now, an overcoat of gray. So children, what's an overcoat? An overcoat is a long coat that you have which covers like maximum part of your body. Okay? It covers maximum part of your body, probably starting from your shoulders till your ankle also. Okay? Now, an overcoat of gray. So what is the color of this squirrel, children? What is its color? Yes, it is gray. Right? Now, why am I saying that it's an overcoat? Because the texture, the skin texture of a squirrel is furry. It has fur on its skin. Not too much, but yes, some fur on its skin. So it resembles to an overcoat. So we are trying to say that instead of the skin, I think it wears an overcoat of gray. Okay, so our poet is trying to tell us that its skin is gray in color and is furry in texture, and it looks as if our squirrel is wearing an overcoat which is gray in color. He sat up straight to eat a nut, and it sits up straight. It doesn't eat food while it's lying down. Every time I told you that a squirrel is eating something, I always tell you that it is sitting on the ground and eating. So just like us, we humans are pretty lazy. At times we might eat while we are lying down on our bed, but our squirrel doesn't do that. It would always sit up straight in this position and then eat a nut. So what is its favorite food, children? Its favorite food is a nut. Understood? He likes to tease and play. And the next thing that the squirrel loves to do is tease us. What is the meaning of tease, children? Tease is to make fun of. Make fun of. So children, now remember a situation wherein your friend tells you to catch him or her. Okay, so you are playing this game wherein you catch your friend and post that your friend becomes a dinner. Okay, so what you do is you go near your friend, you touch your friend, and then your friend is going to become the dinner, and the same thing would happen on repeated basis, right? Now over here what happens is Squirrel is one such animal that it's going to be at one place. Its position would be stable, it's going to be at one place. The moment you would go near it, the moment you're going to go near this squirrel, what it's going to do? It's going to run away. It would just simply run away in some other direction. Okay? Now over here, it is actually calling you that yes, you can catch me. Yes, you can catch me. You can come near me. But eventually, it just makes fun of you. It teases you and runs away in some other direction. So that's how a squirrel plays with you. So it loves to play and tease you like that. Try doing that the next time you go to the park. Now, if we run around his tree, so by any chance, if you go around his tree, if you go around his house, what it is going to do? He is going to run away in some other direction. Again, if you try and catch a squirrel, what it would do? It would go in some other direction. If you try and go near to this animal, he is going to play with you by making fun of you because you won't be able to catch him. You won't be able to catch him, it would run away. And if you would try going near his house, which is his tree, again, it's going to run away in the other direction. So if you would be coming from this direction, it would run away to the other direction, away from you as far as possible. Alright, and the game would continue on repeated basis. Understood, children? So with this, we understand that our squirrel has a tail which is similar to that of a question mark. So we are comparing our question mark with the tail of our squirrel. Then it wears an overcoat of grey because it has its skin which is grey in color and is furry. This is furry, so we are saying it resembles as if our squirrel is wearing an overcoat. Then it sits up straight to eat a nut, which is its favorite food. Then the next thing is that it likes to tease and play. So it tries to call you, attract you, that you go near the squirrel, you try and catch it, it is going to tease you, you won't be able to catch a squirrel and it's going to play with you like that. It's going to run away every time you catch it. So the way your friend gets caught and becomes a dinner, you won't be able to do that with the squirrel. Now, and if we run away, if we run around his tree, around his house, again it's going to run in the other direction, in the other way to the next tree. Understood, children? So with this, let's now go through the questions based upon this poem. So students, now let's discuss the question answers from this poem. So the very first question that you have is, why does the poet say the squirrel wore a question mark for tail? Okay. So why does the poet say that the squirrel wore a question mark for a tail? Very good, you know the answer here. Now children, the next step is to draw a squirrel or find a picture of a squirrel sitting on the ground, and then how would you describe its tail? Since we have also seen the squirrel, so you are asked to describe its tail all by yourself. Alright children, so now let's check the answer for this question. Now, the tail of the squirrel was in the shape of a question mark, and that is the reason the poet describes him as wore a question mark for tail. So since the shape of the tail strongly resembles, it was strongly similar to that of a question mark, you can't make out if it's a tail or a question mark if I just overdraw this one, right? You won't be able to make this out. So that is the reason the poet says that it wears a question mark for a tail. Now children, the next thing is that you need to take up one drawing, or you could probably just take out one picture from some book or from some chart and then paste it in your notebook to answer this question completely. Alright students, now let's continue. Question number 2 says, do we usually say that an animal wears a tail? What do we say? Now you need to think, does an animal actually wear a coat? And then you can also consult a dictionary if you like to find out how wear is used in different ways. Alright students, you could do that too. Now children, let's talk about the phrase here that says wears a tail. So children, now the squirrel won't actually be wearing a tail. Definitely. Now, the animal wear a tail is a poetic expression. Now, what do you understand by a poetic expression? Poets have the freedom to express themselves in the manner in which they want. They can express themselves the way they want. Now, over here, children, an animal doesn't wear clothes. We know that. Have you ever seen an animal wearing clothes? No, right? So the animals don't wear clothes. But over here, when I'm saying that an animal is wearing something, that's where it's a poetic expression, because poet is using some words to refer to his meaning. It is trying to tell us that it is wearing it has it, okay? That is what the poet is trying to tell us. And the method, the way of conveying that thought is a little different here. If I actually go by the literal meaning, the actual meaning of this word, it means as if it's wearing a tail the way I'm wearing a t-shirt. Okay, so that won't be appropriate. Over here, our poet is using some different words to give us an idea that it's an animal that has a tail. Understood, children? So, such an expression wherein if you actually translate this as per the meaning, you won't be able to understand what the poet is trying to say. However, if you understand the expression, if you understand those words in context to the poem, you'll be able to get the answer. So that is something that you have as a poetic expression. Understood? So the animal wear a tail is a poetic expression, and in dictionary, wear is used to have or to cover. So something that covers you. So for example, this t-shirt covers my body, hence I am wearing this, or even to have would become your meaning of wear. So if you have something, you can probably say that you're wearing it. And the last one, children, question number 3. He liked to tease and play. Now, who is teasing whom and how? So, who is teasing us here, children? The squirrel is teasing the children. Children like you who go to the park and try and play with the squirrel starts teasing the children. Now, the children are running around the tree to catch it. What are the children doing? They are running around the tree, around the squirrel's house so that they can catch the squirrel. But the squirrel is teasing the children. It's making fun of the children and making them realize, no, you can't catch me. Alright? So over here, the squirrel is teasing the children and the children are running around the tree to catch it. So with this, children, we understand the entire poem and we even covered the question answers. I hope you were able to understand the poem The Squirrel. Thank you and all the best.